All right, so I'm looking at our notes here, and the first thing I see, like right at the top, is day 21.
Hmm.
And my first thought was, okay, day 21, it's 3 weeks. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal. So why are we focusing on this specific number?
It's interesting you say that because that exact thought that, oh, it's just 3 weeks, that's actually the reason most people quit.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. In behavioral psychology, there's this idea of a threshold. And that 3-week mark around day 21, it's often called the valley of death for new habits.
The Valley of Death.
Okay, that sounds a little a little dramatic for learning English grammar.
It is dramatic, but it's real. Think about it. When you start something new, week one is all adrenaline, right? You're excited, you got the new notebook.
The honeymoon phase.
Exactly, the honeymoon phase. Week two, that starts to fade. It feels a bit more like work. But by the time you get to week three, all that initial excitement, that dopamine rush, is gone. You're running purely on discipline, right? And that's usually when I find a really good reason to skip a day. You know, I'm too busy today, or I'll just do double tomorrow, which never happens.
It never happens. That is the graveyard of gym memberships and forgotten hobbies. Millions of people fall off the wagon right there. So in our source material today, this learning journey from Jace and Isha, when they stop to celebrate day 21, it's not just a participation trophy.
It's more than that.
It's so much more. They're acknowledging a huge psychological barrier that you, the listener, have just crossed. If you're still here, you've moved from just trying to actually building a habit.
The source actually has a great quote here. It says, that's 20 full days of showing up. More commitment than most people ever give to any skill. And when you put it like that, it suddenly feels a lot more significant. It's about the grit, not just the grammar.
It's an identity shift. You stop being a person trying a hobby and you become a learner. And once that identity is established, well, you need better tools. Because let's look at the arsenal they've built so far, according to the notes. What can a learner actually do after 20 days?
It's a lot of the essentials. Greetings, basic vowel sounds, the magic verbs they talked about, ordering food at a restaurant,
Right.
colors, describing family, and the power of can. So I can do this.
It's all very functional, isn't it? I want coffee. This is my sister. The car is blue.
But notice the one thing all of those sentences have in common.
They're all happening right now, in the present.
Exactly. They are trapped in the eternal present. If you only know the present tenses, you're living like a goldfish. You can describe the fishbowl you're in, but you can't tell anyone how you got there. You can't talk about the cool rock you saw yesterday.
That's a pretty bleak way to think about it, to have no past, no story.
It's a linguistic prison. You can't really form deep connections with people because we connect by sharing stories, by sharing our pasts. You can't do that if you can't talk about yesterday. And that right there is the mission for today's deep dive. We're breaking down the mechanics of the simple past.
The big shift, moving from I am doing to I did. And I love how the source opens this up. Jazik gives this really almost philosophical prompt. He says to the learner, stop scrolling and think back for just a second.
That's such a counterintuitive request these days, isn't it? The whole world is designed to keep you scrolling forward, on to the next thing. He's asking you to hit the brakes and look in the rearview mirror.
A hard break. And the questions he asks are so simple, so human. Did you wake up late? Did you meet a friend? Did you get something special? But then he pivots. He says, or maybe yesterday was tough. You worked late, you felt tired, you missed someone.
I really appreciated that part because so many language examples are super cheerful. I am happy, the weather is nice. Acknowledging that yesterday might have been a bad day makes it feel so much more real.
It validates the entire human experience, good and bad. And from a language point of view, it hammers home the function of this tense. Those moments, the good ones and the tough ones, they are, in his words, finished, gone, part of your story. If you don't have the simple past, you can't process them, you can't share them, you're just stuck with the feeling.
Okay, so our job today is to hand over the keys to that story. We're going to unpack the logic, navigate what the notes call the irregular verb minefield, which I have some strong feelings about, and then see how it all comes together in actual storytelling.
Sounds like a plan. Let's start with the foundation. Section 1, the logic of yesterday.
So the core definition here from the source is that the simple past is for actions that are completed, finished, done.
Think of it like closing a file on your computer. You finish the task, you hit save, and you close the window. I went to the market. Click. That file is now stored in the yesterday folder. It's not still open on your desktop today.
Right, it's not continuing. It belongs to a specific finished time. The text lists, yesterday, last week, and last year.
And this seemingly simple idea just unlocked a whole new level of communication. Look at the examples they give.
The first two are pretty standard. I went to the market. I saw a beautiful sunset. But the third one is very specific. I ate kolbachers with my friends.
And that specificity is so important. I saw a sunset is a beautiful but solitary observation. I ate kolbacher with friends. That's an entire social event in one sentence. It has flavor, it has friendship, it has a location, it's a memory.
Okay, so how do we build these sentences? The text lays out two distinct paths. And this, right here, is where English starts to feel like it's designed to be difficult. Why can't there just be one rule?
The eternal question, why the split between regular and irregular?
It's so frustrating. Let's talk about the easy ones first. Regulars.
The source calls this the golden rule because for the most part, it's beautifully simple and predictable.
These are the good guys, the rule followers. You just take the verb and you add aid to the end. Walk becomes walked, talk becomes talked, play, played.
It's like a machine. You put a verb in one end, you turn the crank, and the past tense comes out the other. It's efficient. If you learn a brand new verb tomorrow, like to Google, you instinctively know that past tense is Googled. You apply the rule.
It's very satisfying. The system works. Now, the source does mention a few little spelling tweaks we need to be aware of.
Sure, minor mechanical adjustments. If a verb already ends in an E, like live, you just add the D, lift. Simple enough.
And then there's the Y rule, with a word like study.
Right, you can't just stick ed on the end. S-T-U-D-Y-E-D. It just looks wrong, and it's awkward to say. So English has this little rule. The ye changes to an I, and then you add ed, studied.
Okay, that makes sense. And the last one is the double consonant thing, like with stop.
This one is all about preserving the sound. If you just add ed to stop, you get S-T-O-P-D. Your brain wants to pronounce that like sloped or hoped with a long O sound.
Ah, so to keep that short, sharp O sound in stop, you need to double the P.
You need to build a wall, stopped. That second P tells your brain, hey, keep this vowel sound short. It happens with plan, planned, robbed.
But fundamentally, even with these little tweaks, the regular verbs follow a predictable pattern. You learn the system, you can handle thousands of verbs.
Exactly. It's a reliable system.
And then we step off the solid ground and into the irregular verb minefield.
Into the chaos.
This part drives me insane. The source is so blunt about it. It just says, these have completely different forms and must be memorized. No rules, no system, just good luck.
It feels arbitrary, I know.
It feels more than arbitrary. How does go become went? There isn't even a G or an O in went. Where did that word come from? It's like they just picked random letters from a bag.
It seems that way, but there's a fascinating historical reason for it. You asked why English can't just have one rule, why we haven't fixed this. The answer is all about frequency. Look at the top 10 list the source provides. Go, see, eat, do, have, come. What do all of those words have in common?
They are the most basic words we use, the absolute core actions of being a person.
They are primal. We have been saying these words in some form for over 1,000 years, long before anyone wrote a grammar book. And because we say them every single day, hundreds of times, they become linguistic fossils. They're so deeply embedded that they resist the normal evolution of the language.
So you're saying a word that we don't use very often might eventually just give up and become regular, add an ed.
It happens all the time. But go. Eat. See, they're too powerful. They're too common. They're preserved in their ancient, irregular forms. So instead of a minefield, try thinking of them as a museum. Every time you say, I went or I saw, you're using a piece of living history.
That's a much cooler way to think about it. It doesn't make the memorization any easier, but it makes it more interesting.
No, you still have to put in the work. You have to do the reps. There's no shortcut.
All right, let's go through this top 10 list from the source. I feel like we need to do this like a drill. Because, as you said, you can't describe a single day of your life without these. I'll give you the base verb, you give me the museum piece.
Let's do it. Fire away.
Number one, the big one. Go.
Went. A completely different word. A leftover from an old verb that meant to turn or to wend.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And frustrating. Number two, see.
Saw. I saw my friend yesterday.
Eat.
Eat.
Do.
Did. Which, as we'll see, is a very, very important one. Had.
Okay, number six, come.
Came. Just a little vowel shift there.
By.
Bought. This one trips people up with the spelling that O-U-G-H-T is a nightmare, but the sound is simple. Bought.
Right. Take.
Took.
Give.
Gave.
And last but not least, a crucial one for a hot day. Drink.
Drank.
Okay. Wow. Looking at that list. Go, see, eat, do, have, come, buy, take, give, drink. If you took those 10 verbs out of the English language, you'd basically be mute.
You would be paralyzed. Try to explain your morning without them. I moved from my bed. I consumed a liquid. You sound like an alien. You need to say, I got up, I took a shower, I had coffee. The irregulars are the rhythm of everyday life.
The source provides a few examples to put them into context, which is helpful. I went to Chandigarh yesterday.
See, context is everything. They don't just say, I went. They attach it to a real place. Went plus Chandigarh. Saw plus a very good movie. Ate plus pizza. It anchors the grammar in a real experience.
Yeah, that's true. Now, speaking of things that anchor the grammar,
Yeah.
we need to get into what might be the single most confusing part for learners. Section 3, the mechanics of did.
Ah, yes. The mighty did. This is where the logic seems to flip on its head, and a lot of people get stuck.
So the source gives us the formula for making a negative sentence. It's did not or didn't, plus the base verb. So for example, I didn't go.
Correct.
But my brain, every fiber of my being, wants to say I didn't went. I'm talking about the past. Went is the past tense verb. Why does the rule force me to use the present tense word go when I'm clearly talking about yesterday? It feels wrong.
Okay, I have an analogy for this that I find really helps. Think of the word did as a very powerful, very jealous bouncer at a nightclub.
A jealous bouncer. Okay, I'm with you so far.
Right, and this bouncer's only job is to handle the past tense. He stands at the front of the sentence, and he is the one who marks the sentence as being in the past. So did is already carrying all of the past tense meaning.
He's doing the heavy lifting.
He's doing all of it. And because he's jealous, he doesn't want any other verb in the sentence to try and do his job. He points to the main verb, like go, and says, hey, you just stay in your simple base form. Don't you dare try to look like the past tense. That's my job.
So if I say I didn't went, I'm essentially trying to do the bouncer's job. I'm double marking it as past.
You're stepping on his toes. You're double stamping the passport. You don't need two signs that you're in the past. Did is the sign. It's the big flashing neon light that says yesterday. Once that light is on, the other verbs can just relax.
I didn't go. She didn't like the movie.
Exactly. Not she didn't liked. The bouncer did takes care of the ed.
And this same logic applies to questions, right? The formula is did plus subject plus base verb.
Same exact logic. The bouncer did moves to the very front of the line to show it's a question about the past. Did you watch the match?
Not did you watched.
Never. Because did is already on duty. Watch stays in its base form.
Okay, but then, and this is the part that feels like mental gymnastics, when you answer the question in the positive, the bouncer goes away.
He goes off duty. That's a great way to put it. So the question is, did you watch the match? And if the answer is yes, did is gone. So now the main verb watch has to do the work again. It has to put on its past tense uniform so it becomes yes, I watched the match.
That switch from did you watch to yes, I watched happens in a split second in a real conversation. For a learner, that's a huge cognitive load. You have to track whether the bouncer's on duty or not.
It is a massive load, and that's precisely why the source includes a specific error alert section. They call out the most common mistakes that come from this confusion.
And the number one offender has to be, did you ate?
The classic. It's a panic response.
Yeah.
You're so focused on communicating past that you throw everything you have at it. You make both words past tense just to be safe.
You're over-communicating. You're shouting past, past, past.
Exactly. Just trust the did. Let the bouncer do his job. If you start your question with did, the timeline is set. You can relax. Did you eat?
They call out another common one, which I hear all the time. I was go to the market.
Ah, yeah. This one comes from a direct but incorrect translation from the present continuous. Learners know I am going, so they think, okay, the past of am is was. I'll just swap it. I was go.
But it doesn't work that way.
Not at all. Was is a verb for a state of being. I was tired. I was a student. Go is an action verb. In the simple past, you don't mix them like that. The action stands on its own. I went. It's cleaner. It's more direct.
I went. No, was. Got it. Okay, let's move on to section 4 because this is just as important. Anchoring in time. Because even if you get the verb form perfect, if you don't tell me when it happened, I'm lost.
Absolutely. These time expressions are the GPS coordinates for your story. Without them, the listener is just floating in a vague past. The source calls them signal words.
And it lists the most common ones. Yesterday, yesterday morning, yesterday evening, etc. Last night, last week, last month, last year, and ago.
2 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 10 years ago.
These little phrases are so powerful. They're not just like decorations on the sentence. They change the entire meaning.
They really do. If I say to you, I didn't sleep well, that's just a general fact about me. Maybe I have chronic insomnia. It's a complaint. But if I say, I didn't sleep well last night, that is a specific piece of news. It explains why I look tired today. It connects the past to the present.
It creates a cause and effect relationship. I didn't sleep well last night, so I am drinking a lot of coffee now.
Exactly. And the last week or last month phrases, they let you organize your life's narrative. You can talk about last year's vacation versus the vacation from 2 years ago. Without them, all your memories are just in one big disorganized pile.
Okay, so with the logic, the verbs, and the time anchors in place, Section 5 of the source puts it all together. They call it storytelling in action. And I love the examples they use. They feel very real, very specific.
Let's start with scenario A, the routine.
Right. It's not just a list of sentences.
Yep.
It's someone telling the story of their day. It starts with, I woke up at 8 a.m., then I didn't make breakfast, I just drank tea. Then I went to college and met my friends. And then my favorite detail, we ate golgap.
That Golgap detail is absolutely brilliant.
Why do you say that? I mean, it's just a type of food.
Is it? Think about most textbook examples. I ate an apple. I ate a sandwich. They're so generic, so sterile. When you use a word like Golgap or coal butcher, like in the earlier example, or Pinjore Gardens, as we'll see later, you are doing something profound. You are claiming the English language for your own life, for your own culture. You're not just learning English. You're learning how to express your world in English.
That's a great point. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about being yourself in a new language. This routine also has a nice mix of positive and negative. I went to college, but I didn't make breakfast.
Which is how real days work. It's never all one or the other. This shows how you can weave the positive forms and the negative didn't forms together to tell a complete story.
This leads perfectly into scenario C, the weekend recap. This one's a dialogue, a conversation between two friends.
And that's a key step, moving from monologue to dialogue.
So the first speaker says they went to Pinjore Gardens. Let's look at the verbs they use. I went to Pinjore Gardens with my family. That's an irregular. Then, we walked a lot. That's a regular. Then, we saw beautiful flowers. Back to irregular.
It's a constant back and forth, isn't it?
Effortlessly.
That is the goal. That's fluency in action. In a real conversation, you don't get to pause and think, okay, is walk a regular or irregular verb? Your brain has to switch between the two systems, the rule-based system for ed and the memory-based system for the irregulars instantly.
And after walking and seeing flowers, they ate kolbacher at a dhaba. Again, such a specific, culturally rich detail.
It paints a complete picture. You can almost taste it.
Then the second speaker responds. And their weekend was totally different.
Right. I stayed home, I watched the IPL match and did some cleaning.
Watch the IPL match. Again, grounding the language practice in the real world. This isn't just a grammar exercise. This is what people actually talk about. This is social currency. If you walk into work on Monday and your colleagues are talking about the match and you can't say, I watched it or I didn't see it, you're completely left out of the conversation.
That's the social survival element of the simple past. It's the bridge that connects you to the people around you. If you can only ever say, I am watching cricket, you can only talk about what's on TV right now. If you can say, I watched the match last night, Kohli played brilliantly, now you're not just a language learner. You're a fan. You're part of the group.
So this is the goal. How do we help you, the listener, get there? Section 6 is the listener challenge.
The pause and practice moment. And they really stress the word pause. This isn't something you can learn passively while scrolling on your phone. You have to stop and actively engage your brain. You have to build the sentences yourself.
The challenge is specific. Tell the story of your yesterday in 8 to 10 sentences. But here's the catch, the constraint.
Ah, yes, the constraint.
You must use at least 4 regular verbs and at least 4 irregular verbs.
They're forcing you to practice that weave we were just talking about. They don't want you to take the easy way out and just say, I was tired, the day was long, the food was good.
That uses the verb to be, but avoids all the action verbs.
They want the action. They want a story. I woke up, I worked on a report, I called my parents, I ate dinner, I watched a movie.
Exactly. Regular, irregular, regular, irregular. That's the workout.
The source gives a model answer to follow, a little narrative arc for a day. It includes, woke up late, bought vegetables, talked a lot with my family, and went to bed at 11 p.m. A nice, simple story. And right before they set you off on that challenge, they provide the golden cheat sheet. This is the whole lesson distilled onto one mental sticky note.
Let's run through it. Regular verbs equals base verb plus ed.
Irregular verbs equals the memorized form.
Negative sentences equal didn't plus base verb.
And questions equal did plus subject plus base verb.
That's it. That's the entire operating system for talking about the past.
It is the code.
Okay, now for the part everyone loves to hate, Section 7. The homework. But I will say, the source material does a good job of framing this not as a chore, but as a necessary application of the skill.
It's about taking it from the classroom to the real world. And there are 4 distinct assignments, each targeting a different skill.
First up is writing. Write a paragraph, 10, 12 sentences, about your yesterday or last weekend.
Writing is practice in the slow lane. It gives you time to think, time to check the spelling rules, to remember if buy becomes buyed or bought. There's no pressure of a live conversation. You can edit and correct yourself.
Then the second task is recording. Record yourself speaking for 90 to 120 seconds, telling that same story. Why is recording it so important? Why not just say it out loud?
Because your brain is a liar.
Okay, yeah, no, really. When you're speaking, you think you sound great. Your brain smooths over the little mistakes. But when you listen to a recording of your own voice, you become an objective observer. You become your own teacher. You'll hear the did you ate error that you completely missed in the moment. It creates a powerful feedback loop.
That makes a lot of sense. The third task is speaking. Actually tell a family member or a friend about your day.
This is the high-stakes practice, the real world. There's no pause button. If you say something confusing, you'll see it on their face. The feedback is immediate and very real.
And the final one is social. Write 3 sentences in the comments section of the lesson. This is about community. It's about accountability. When you post your sentences, you're making a public commitment. And more importantly, you see that you're not alone. You see that 50 other people are also trying to figure out the past tense of bring. It removes the isolation from learning.
And the whole point of all this homework, the why behind it, is captured in one phrase from the source. Make it sound natural.
Natural is the ultimate goal. Natural means invisible. When you master the simple past, people stop hearing your grammar and they start hearing your story. Your mistakes are no longer a distraction. The language itself fades into the background and your message, your memory, your personality comes through. That is victory.
Turning your life into stories.
That's the whole point.
So looking ahead, the outro of the source material teases what's coming on day 22, adverbs.
The how words. Up to now, we focused on the what, the action. I ate, she ran, we studied. Now it's time to add the color, the flavor, the emotion.
So I ate the pizza is the simple past action. The what?
Right. But how did you eat it? I ate the pizza quickly. I ate the pizza slowly. I ate the pizza happily. Or I ate the pizza regretfully at 2 a.m.
I have definitely done that last one. So adverbs add the emotional texture to the story.
They add the personality. But you can't paint the texture onto a wall that hasn't been built yet. The simple past tense, what we've covered today, that is the wall. It's the structure.
The hosts, Jace and Isha, they sign off with this really encouraging message. They say, every time you say, I went or I saw, you are building the skill of real storytelling. And they end by saying, we're incredibly proud of you.
And they should be. It goes right back to that day 21 threshold we started with. If you have stuck with it this long, if you're engaging with this material, you have overcome the single biggest obstacle to learning. You've beaten the statistics. You should be proud.
So as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you to take away. We've talked a lot today about yesterday and last weekend, but the simple past is so much bigger than that. It is the key that unlocks your entire life story. It unlocks your childhood.
Your heritage.
Exactly. Think for a moment about your oldest, most cherished memory. Maybe you were 4 years old. Maybe it was a moment with a grandparent or a favorite toy.
Try to take that one single memory and translate it using the tools from today. It doesn't have to be perfect. I sat on the floor. My grandmother gave me a sweet. I was happy.
When you can take a piece of your own soul, a core memory like that, and describe it in English, the language stops being this foreign academic subject you have to study.
It becomes a part of you. It becomes yours.
So that's your final challenge. Translate one precious memory today. Thanks for diving in with us.
And remember, trust the did.
Trust the did. We'll see you next time.